Israel's northern border is a complex and dangerous frontier. In this place, history, geography, and current threats all collide. CBN News Middle East correspondent Joshua Swanson takes us to the front lines, where Israeli soldiers are standing watch.
Rising 9,800 feet above the Mediterranean sits Mount Hermon, known as the Eyes of the State. Today, those eyes look deep into a fractured Syria. After a decades-long ceasefire, the 2024 collapse of the Assad regime pushed Israeli forces beyond the UN buffer zone, transforming this region into a new and critical defensive line.
Mount Hermon may be Israel's highest peak and its only ski resort, but it's also a strategic location for Israel's defense.
From this position, Israeli forces guard against threats that often emerge without warning. For security reasons, we're protecting soldiers we interviewed by only identifying them by their rank.
That is a very important point for our country. We have our neighbors right behind us. It's the Syrian border, and in front of us, it's the Lebanese border. We can see above the borders, to the Syrian side, to the Lebanese side.
That is Lebanon. This is Israel. And that is Syria.
The men and women of the 810th Mountains Brigade hold this sensitive location against a force that's not always predictable.
We don't know exactly who is the enemy right now. So if it was for sure the Syrian army, now we are not sure. Maybe it's ISIS, maybe it's a lot of groups that we don't know. So we're much more ready for everything.
History showed us, especially in the past 2 years since the 7th of October, is that we need to protect each line in every border that Israel has. I wouldn't know what would happen if we weren't here, but I can tell you that our citizens in the Golan Heights, our citizens in Kiryat Shmona will be less safe. And our responsibility as the IDF, as the Israeli Defense Forces, is to make sure that our state, our people, our families live their life in the safest way possible.
These soldiers pursue a mission that's deeply personal.
You kind of get a very strong feeling and sense of feeling that, wow, I'm here and I'm really enabling our families to come after 2 years that they weren't able to come here because of the threat, to come here, enjoy life, celebrate life.
And the IDF follows one guiding principle.
What people don't understand about the IDF is its purpose. And its purpose is to defend the people.
Protecting this ground goes beyond borders. It also means safeguarding land that provides vital resources and sustains life well beyond this mountain.
So agriculture, we need to save this place because all the snow that melts into the Jordan River and then to the Kinneret, the Sea of Galilee, that it's a very important source of water for drinking.
These IDF soldiers also want people around the world to seek truth.
First thing I want to say to people is research. So if you hear something like I do, just do small research and you can see the truth. And another thing I want to send is thank you. Thank you for the support.
You know, after spending time with the IDF, it's clear they love their country. They're proud of what they do, and they understand the mission.
I'm married, I have 4 kids, I have a job. Most of my soldiers are married too, with kids at home and work, and some of them are students. It's not easy at all, but we believe what we do, and we have the right to do it. Just pray and continue praying. I believe a lot in prayer, so it's very important. It's a second weapon that we cannot see.
The Psalms describe this mountain as a blessing. The covenant identified it as the northern border of Israel. And in modern times, the IDF stands guard, not seeking conflict or war, but preventing it. Joshua Swanson, CBN News, Mount Hermon.
Well, that's obviously the high ground of that area, and the strategic importance can't be underestimated, and just how important it is for the IDF to retain control of that in order to retain control of the peace. If that were ever to be in the hands of ISIS or Hezbollah, you can be certain that rockets will be placed there aimed right at the heart of Tel Aviv, right at the heart of Israel. Keep this in mind. The IDF views itself as a defensive force for the people of Israel. And the contrast couldn't be clearer as you look at What has happened in Syria with the civil war, now ISIS in control of Syria. What has happened in Lebanon, where Hezbollah literally took over the government there. The people of Lebanon are finally pushing back against it, but can they really win that? Can they really get rid of that terror element? And then you turn down to Gaza. And in Gaza, at the insistence of the Bush administration, Israel turned it over for their own government to control it, them to have their own police force, their ability to have weapons, all of these things. And what did the people of Gaza do with that liberty? Well, they elected Hamas as their leadership, and then they dedicated themselves to terror tunnels and to rockets and to invading Israel. Now, if that happened right here in the United States, would anybody raise any objection at all to the U.S. saying, well, we're not going to allow that anymore. We're not going to allow you to have arms. We're not going to allow this to be a military enclave to launch future attacks against us. We need to make sure you're disarmed. We need to make sure you'll never be a threat to us again. That's the current situation in Gaza. And for all this talk of somehow there was a genocide and that Israel was, was wrong in trying to eliminate Hamas and eliminate those weapons, please rethink that. And just as that IDF soldiers, do your own research. Don't listen to the slogans being put out, but look at the history of it. Look at what they're actually saying. Look at the covenant, the contract that Hamas says, this is what we are and this is what we intend to do, and believe it. They are formed to wipe Israel off the map. Hezbollah formed to wipe Israel off the map. ISIS formed to wipe Israel off the map. Let's keep these things in mind and allow Israel to defend itself.